So, summer's like halfway over and I haven't made a video since Christmas. So, Happy New Year? I've been kind of busy making music and I just released my new album that I uploaded in its entirety on YouTube on my Nightfall channel. But that doesn't mean I haven't been working on videos. See, I usually have a couple of scripts in the pipeline at any time, and I usually work on them simultaneously whenever I feel up to it. Usually. Sometimes. Occasionally. Okay, to be honest, it's hard to keep motivated sometimes, so I usually only write scripts when I'm really up for it. And this is one of those special occasions. I want to talk about a super interesting game that I found on Steam that I want to share with you guys. This is a game called Playable Mockup, which is obviously an homage to PT. But if you think Playable Mockup is just a PT clone, oh boy, are you mistaken. Really, it is only inspired by PT in the best way possible. Remember when PT came out and that special kind of indie devs suddenly thought that their PT clone would be the special one? And no, they weren't. Most of them ended up being kind of boring. But this one really is different. This one is a deeply strategic, very complex, horror roguelike deck builder. Yeah, what the shit, right? And I think this game is good? It's kinda hard to tell, really. So the game begins in this strange hub room with a computer. A door opens and we can see what time it is on the side right here. This is the first loop and this is where we sort of learn the mechanics. To be frank, the game is super complex and even now, I don't think I understand most of it. I don't know when I'm doing well and hell, I don't even know how to win. I just kinda assume I do. I do know how to lose, but I don't really know how to keep track of when I'll lose. You'll see what I mean. It doesn't really help that the creator of this game isn't really a fluent English speaker either. So basically there's this corridor that totally doesn't look like they just flipped the PT corridor at all. And I think the point is to make it to 12 AM. But the Steam page also says something about the capturing the soul of the dead. See, the reason I'm so confused is that if you skip an hour, it is missing on your progression scale. So I'm not certain if I'm supposed to see all 12 hours or if I'm just supposed to get to the end. I do, however, understand the very, very basics of the game. Probably. That's something, right? So here's what I understand. You have a certain amount of resources. Film, sanity, and energy. Film is the easiest one to explain. You use film to take pictures of the corridor. You can take pictures of objects, paintings, these really cool looking monsters, and paranormal activities. Photos are basically the cards in this deck builder game. Once you take a picture, it gets added to your deck, and you can keep reusing it unless it says that it's gonna get incinerated. In which case, it disappears permanently. You can also strategically take multiple pictures of the same object to add more of them to your deck. I thought that was really cool. And there's also a management aspect here. By default, you only get a certain amount of film for each loop. And when you run out, you return to the hub world, and then a certain amount of photographs appear on the wall. And from here you can pick any photograph you want to activate your abilities for this loop. It's also possible to get more photographs with this special ability right here. And then there's this generator that is basically what a mulligan is in any other card game. It's super in-depth. Next is sanity, and honestly, it's the one I understand the least. So this is how I think it works. I believe sanity is kind of like your health. You can take pictures of monsters to add them to your deck, however doing so will lower your sanity. But I think the sanity also naturally goes down eventually. At first I thought, okay, so when this hits 0, I'm probably dead. But that's not really how it works. Your lose condition is getting caught by this monster called the Witch. There's signs talking about how she's always getting closer, and then there's a sign that talks about her using all her arms and legs to get closer. As opposed to using only some of her limbs, I guess? Hell, I don't know. I don't think you can keep track of where she is, and eventually she just appears out of nowhere and kills you. I mean, I believe this is supposed to be the Witch, right? She can also kill you in the hub area, so you're in danger everywhere. There is no safe room at all. So I'm assuming that the lower your sanity, the higher the chances that she appears. Or, I guess, the closer she gets. But once you hit 25, the corridor flips, and there's essentially nothing you can do to win anymore and avoid her. But the Witch isn't a physical being you can see. She just kind of appears after you use the camera and ends your run. So once you're at this point of the game, you kind of just want to use the camera as little as you can and run as fast as you can. Lastly, energy. Energy is kind of like mana in normal card games. It represents the amount of photos or cards you can pick each time you leave for the corridor. But there are also photos that give you more energy in film, so you can extend your stay in the corridor to get further and take pictures. And then there are also these, what they call emotions you can switch to. This changes the appearance of the monsters, paintings, and the corridor in its entirety. My guess is that this is the only way to get certain photos. And I think the monsters make your sanity go down quicker. So if it's just about getting to 12 AM, then why would I ever need to switch emotions? Is there a reason? I guess this is just one of those, I don't know, kind of things about the game. But all of this needs to be strategically operated in order to fulfill the goal of, I'm assuming, getting to 12 AM and capture the soul of the dead, whatever that means. Yeah, it's a lot, but it's also surprisingly fun and atmospheric. Of course, this isn't a super scary game, and probably won't get your heart pumping once you get the idea, but it's certainly atmospheric and creepy in places. I mean, just look at the doppelganger. Just sitting there in the corner all game. Twitching like some sort of Silent Hill monster. The vinyl player's music in the background, and the radio just constantly talking to you. It's very PT, but it also has its very own feeling that I really like somehow. And I think that's how I feel about the entirety of the game. I don't know, but I like it. See, I don't know why there's red water in the hub room that disappears when you walk into the corridor, but I kinda like it. It makes the hub room feel mysterious and a bit like a flooded boiler room. With this generator sitting here, making this mechanical noise that sounds like a heartbeat. Maybe showing you that you are scared, but it's also a little bit calming. So, learning what the different photos do, strategically selecting photos, and somehow making it to 12 AM, it's surprisingly difficult at first, actually. But all of what I've told you now, the confusion and the difficulty of even making it to 12 AM is only the training mode. Yeah, just making it to 12 AM is what the game considers training. The actual main mode of the game is called investigation mode. And I think here we have a little bit more of a story. Like everything with this game, I'm just assuming, but I think in this mode, you need to make it to 12 AM and also find the victim and the culprit. So apparently we are some sort of private detective, maybe? Okay, this is a very niche game, but I'm sure somebody has written a guide on how to really play it. And yeah, there is. I found one guide on the Steam community page that's actually quite helpful. But there's one problem with it. It's written in Chinese, and I don't know anybody who speaks Mandarin, so I'll have to make do with machine translations. This guide is written for players who are new to the pit, but a little confused or interested in the game and want to try it, but don't know how to get started. Oh my god, this is exactly what I was looking for. Could Gumo Gumo be the hero we need right now? Okay, so Playable Mockup is a DPG game that looks like a first-person horror game on the surface, but it's actually a card game, meat pigeon game, but maybe not the hero the English-speaking audience deserves right now. So yeah, the translations are as you would expect from machine translations. Actions in the cloister. But I managed to figure out that the monsters themselves give debuffs if you don't remove them. Or they can just block you completely like a fridge standing in your way. The condition for clearing the level is to reach 6 o'clock? So is it 12 AM or 6 o'clock? I'm so confused. I feel like this game has so much to discover, so if you're still listening and even remotely interested in this game, it's really dirt cheap. I'd suggest you just go and play it for yourself. But otherwise, I invite you to stay here with me and try to make sense of it all. Expelling the above threatening images also consumes the display corresponding SAN value. After passing through the cloister, especially if there are residual threatening remnants in the cloister that are not cleaned up. Ah, so I was right. When you pass through the cloister, corridor, and there are still monsters, it does decrease your sanity faster. So it's a little bit risk versus reward. Remove the monster now to decrease your sanity loss over time, but take the sanity hit immediately. This is shaping up to be quite complicated. Wait. Passing through the cloister and returning to the gallery will bring the witch closer. Right corner of the opposite wall, then entering each cloister, starting from nothing and up to 5. The distance can also be judged by the lighting conditions of the cloister and galleries. Oh my god, so there is a way to see how close the witch is built right into the cloister itself. Yeah, see? It's right there. How did I even miss this? It's so obvious. I even looked right at it. So, armed with Gumo Gumo's knowledge by my side, I gave training mode another shot. I guess the best way is to just take all the time advance photos in the cloister, collect as many film as we can, and make as many loops as we can, as fast as we can, to avoid the witch. Alright, let's give it a shot. Did I do it? Is that what the ending looks like? Did I make it to 12 AM? It didn't look like I made it to 12 AM. I kinda doubt that I made it to 12 AM. Actually, I think I just ran out of sanity. Well, anyway, I think that's where I'll leave it. If only not to spoil any more of this game. There is so much more to this game, and I just wanted to showcase this little gem to you. Like I said in the beginning, there are also these emotions that are important into figuring out the victims and the culprit's state of mind, and I don't quite understand how they work yet. Even with Gumo Gumo by my side. Honestly, the investigation mode is an entire beast on its own. I played it a couple of times, and I think I need much more time to understand how exactly it works. Maybe I'll just stream it one day on this channel. All in all, this game is very fun and kinda creepy to play. And honestly, Gumo Gumo helped a ton with their guide to help me get more insights on how the game works. And while it did give us masterpieces like remember that death occurs at the time of the victim's death, it's also very useful to have something like that for such a complicated game. There's another super unknown indie title called Ghost Dream that would also benefit from a guide like this. I feel like the devs perfectly used PT to make something truly special. I haven't even thought about it, but it's so obvious looking at it now. A repeating hallway like in PT makes for the perfect roguelike. And the way the devs also implemented a deck builder into this horror game and made it fun is nothing short of amazing, and I highly recommend getting this game if you're into roguelikes and horror. For me, I will personally keep supporting the creator 727 Not Hound and keep my eyes on them in the future. This is a very undersaturated genre. In fact, I don't believe I can think of any other game like this. If you're going to take inspiration from PT, this is the way to go. And honestly, I feel like a lot of people can learn from this game just about inspiration in video game development in general. If you get inspired by something, that's okay. Everybody does. Make it yours. Make it unique. You don't even have to deny your inspirations, but just don't make a copy. Show your creativity and personality and make something that is truly you. So yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you all in the future. Bye for now.